And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Tuesdays with Peter. That'd be me. I am Peter J. Redding. I am a professional coach trainer, and it's great to be with you this morning. The topic of today is a continuation in the series that we've been doing on positively brilliant self-mastery. And positively brilliant self-mastery has everything to do with who am I, who was I created to be, okay, by my creator, and to what degree am I living that life? To what degree am I congruent, consistent, aligned, vibrantly aware of that part of actually the core of my being, right? Core of my being. So let me share my screen here. And we're going to be talking about, let me go up one, there we go. Week 17. And week 17 is about principle 17. You live in alignment with your innate life purpose. You live in alignment with your innate life purpose. Out of all the chapters, there's 21 principles, 21 chapters in this little book. This may be the most significant. We've talked about how do you find out what your life purpose is. So the articulation of that, or the rediscovery of that. And if you haven't done that already in your life, we invite you to go to CoreSELFtech.com, CoreSELFtech.com. And CoreSELFtech.com, there are 6 exercises. They're downloadable for free. They're available to the public. They are self-administered. And you can do that on your own to find out and articulate your core life purpose. Yeah. So once you know it, the question that becomes, are you living it? Are you living in alignment or according to that, or not, as the case may be? And we have our special guest, Jody, which I'll bring here in just a minute. Jody, I saw you coming into the room, so thank you for being here. We'll get to you in just a few minutes. So I love quotes, and the one that I use for this chapter is from Oprah Winfrey. The more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate. This kind of goes along the principle of what you focus on expands. What you focus on expands. So if I continue to operate, live within, celebrate, know that I'm living in alignment with my life purpose, then my experience, me and Oprah, our experiences is that there's more life to live. There's more of my life purpose that I get to share. I get to bring into all the different aspects of my life, my personal relationships, my siblings, my business, my relationship, my primary relationships, and so on and so forth. So the more you praise and celebrate your life, and I believe that Oprah would agree with me here, it's not your external life, it's not your made up life, it's not your I need to do this in life, it's my core life purpose, my innate life purpose. The more I praise and celebrate that, the more of that I have to celebrate. So there you go. Knowing your innate life purpose, this comes right out of the book. I just took a couple of the, paragraphs out of the book that was written back in 2008, published at the beginning of 2009. Knowing your innate life purpose is the mother lode of insights for anyone seeking self-mastery. All right, we talked about that last week, actually. Acknowledging yourself for living your innate life purpose is to live heaven on earth. Okay, so one's the mother lode of awareness. Whew, holy mackerel. It's significant, it's powerful, it's weighty, but it's also liberating, that mother lode of insight. This week, we're going to be talking about acknowledging yourself for living that. And that is like living heaven on earth. Can you imagine your life being lived on purpose, and not just any purpose, but your innate life purpose? Can you feel yourself becoming more empowered in this moment as you dare to imagine such a life? Take a moment just to imagine that. I have the capacity within me as a human being to make new choices, perhaps some different choices or more aligned choices, and move away from a life that has been dictated by others to a life that I am meant to be living, the life that my Creator meant for me to be living. Wow. Yeah, wow. First, you realize that you have chosen to know your own innate life purpose. It's a choice. Second, you live in alignment with that, your own innate life purpose. And there are surges of energy inherent in living in congruence with your most masterful self. Now, it is time to celebrate. You acknowledge and celebrate by acknowledging and celebrating, I'm getting all excited here. By acknowledging and celebrating living in alignment with your innate life purpose, you expand your capacity to be and do even more of your authentic self. Yeah, that's what Oprah was. Oprah and I were talking about that. I haven't talked to Oprah, but you know what I mean. Oprah and I, yeah. When we are being and doing what we're here to do, there's even more available. Wow. Acknowledgement and celebration are essential parts of self-mastery because they strengthen your human nature's need for knowing that you are on track and you are capable of creating your life to be on purpose. Continuing acknowledgement and celebration based on real, observable evidence of self-mastery also keep the doubts and limiting beliefs from creeping back into your human nature's ego mind. So there's a whole lot said in that one. By bolstering it, strengthening it, there is more confidence of being true to yourself, basically what I'm saying here. And by strengthening that part of my life, it builds up resistance to all the other shiny things that I might be distracted by. And having a sense of, thank you, but that's not for me. Thank you, that's not my work to do in this lifetime. Thank you, but I am focused and I want to bring all of my energies to why my Creator put me here. So all of that that's saying in that paragraph. Juicy stuff, juicy stuff. Acknowledgement is the antidote to mass consciousnesses, there's a word for you, barrage and your own limiting self-talk of, who do you think you are? And you can't change the world. Now, I believe that every human being has heard that in some form or fashion from people that love them, people that have nurtured them through life, people that care about their well-being. But it's narrow-mindedness. Maybe that's not what I'm meant to be doing, is working here. Maybe I'm not supposed to be the codependent and taking care of somebody else that's perfectly capable of taking care of themselves. And I'm actually retarding their life by doing so. Maybe I need to be answering a deeper, higher calling from my creator. That's what we're talking about here. So enough from me. Back in 2008, I asked a number of my students and best friends and colleagues to write a short story about one of these principles. At that time, Jody Anthony, now Jody Bogart, had agreed to do that. And so I've invited her back, and we are just pleased that she was able to join us today. And I am going to bring her in here, if I can. There she is.
Hey, Peter, how are you?
Hi, Jody.
Hi, I am at my dad's in one of the bedrooms there. So
It's
that's
all
what you see behind me.
It is so perfect.
Oh,
So welcome.
thank you.
So great to reconnect with you.
You too.
So do you have your story there, or do you want to read it off the screen? How do you want to do it?
I have my story here in the book, so I can do that.
Fabulous.
My book right here.
Great.
Okay.
So I am going to bring it up my screen here, and you can start when you're ready.
Okay. Let's see. Loving myself first. What a concept. 4 years ago, if someone had told me that to truly love others, I would have to start by loving myself first. I would have looked at that person like he was crazy. How do I do that? Until recently, I always lived my life helping others before I helped myself. It always felt better to focus on other people first. If they were happy, then I was happy. 4 years ago, my marriage fell apart and I was devastated. I had 2 young children and I was overwhelmed. I wasn't sure where to begin, but I knew that I had to do something radically different. What I didn't know during this dark time was that the most amazing journey was about to unfold. After signing up for various workshops, I got to see through other people's eyes that I was a pretty amazing person. There was nothing that I had to fix, and there was nothing broken. What I began to do was to love myself unconditionally. For the first time in my life, I could see that I don't need to do or be anything else. I am enough. Through this experience, I discovered that my life purpose is to love myself unconditionally and claim God's perfection in me, and to help others see their own magnificence and claim it for themselves. Now I get to coach others and reflect back their magnificence wherever I see it, and then sit back and witness the miracle of them loving themselves unconditionally. I'm so passionate about helping others claim their magnificence. What I realize now is that I couldn't have gotten here without claiming it for myself first.
Wow. Wow. And oh, by the way, wow. So there we go. So 14 years have transpired, if you can believe
Crazy.
that, if you can believe that one.
No.
And you reread something that you wrote back in 2008. How does it strike you now?
Well, it's so timely, of course, because I apparently am still working on this piece. Shocking. And now my little children are 25 and 28.
Yeah.
And now I get another opportunity because now they can tell me the things that upset them growing up, and the pain that came through the divorce is as hard as I tried to make it painless as possible, which isn't possible. I get to turn that back, focus back on me, and love myself unconditionally and forgive myself for any mistakes. So it's really seriously like so perfect right now.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, it's and the other, of course, contributors along the way in the last several months have said, and this is a journey. This is a continuing process. It's not like, okay, good, I'm done with that. I can leave that and I can move on to something else. This is like a daily, yearly, ongoing sense of self-mastery to remind myself that I do have a life purpose. And I bring that into all the different parts of my life. And guess what? I'm still human. It's like I am perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody escapes from that. Now, maybe the yogis and the Himalayas have been able to sustain that, more than a day at a time or an hour at a time. I haven't.
No, I hear you.
So, what would you say to others? Is it worthwhile to know yourself? Is it worthwhile to even make the attempt of living that sense of core self, or not? Or is it just too damn painful and just say, okay, so let me be in oblivion again. Thank you very much. I mean, where are you at with that?
That's a really great question. And I would say absolutely it's worth it. Is it painful at times? Yeah, to look at yourself and really see, your imperfections. And I don't know if you're in astrology, but I'm a Virgo, so I'm very much about a perfectionist. So it's particularly challenging for me, but I'm so forgiving and remind everybody else of how amazing they are. So it really is huge for me to turn it back on me and give myself that same permission. But it is absolutely worth it. I wouldn't go back to sleep or choose any other way at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just always going to be better for me to live my life purpose and to continue to, as you say, grow my self-mastery. I mean, that's just, to me, there's no other option.
I've often shared in this channel the fact that when I first got into the process of moving away from my oblivious self, my unknowing self, I'm living according to everybody else outside of me self. The first 2 or 3 years of that transition period for me that I was going through was absolutely excruciating. And I swear to God, and I've said it before here, dear God, let me be oblivious again. Just kind of, can you erase the board and not tell, that was not fun. Frankly, that was not fun. And to your point, once I got through the majority of that, I don't think I ever get through all of it, but the majority of that, maybe 95% of that, it's been a different life. I mean, literally a different life. I get up in the morning and I'm excited about life. I'm excited about contributing. I'm excited about knowing who I am and being able to do that. And while it's incredibly humbling, and it's not always easy, there is a deep sense of satisfaction and fulfillment inside of me. It's like, thank you, God, for endowing me. And I don't know what you saw in me initially, at pre-birth, but holy cow, you gave me a mother load of, purpose for this lifetime. And so thank you for entrusting me, basically, with that. And I'm doing the best I can, right? And it's incredibly satisfying. It's revitalizing. I'm healthier now. I've said this several times. I'm healthier now than I was at 37 by leaps and bounds. And it's because I get to be me. And that tickles me. How do you sustain it? How do you remember when, it's hard? Do you have any techniques that you would like to share with the audience as far as how do you sustain it? How do you remember?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I'm at a point where the uncomfortable, painful feeling is so great that it doesn't, I don't stay in it for long. I have to go give myself relief. So either it's journaling, it's drawing for me because I'm an artist as well. It is every morning I sit down with my coffee, light a candle, and I listen to or read the Course in Miracles or some kind of spiritual book. So I reconnect to, it's a bigger perspective on life.
Yeah.
And it just helps me breathe and realize that everybody has their own journey as well as mine. Those are really important ways, or connect with nature by going on a hike or walk or talking to friends that I can really open up with and let myself be me. Those are, and I really do that on a regular basis because I have to and I choose to. Yeah. I really do. And it helps me tremendously, but I start my day with that.
I love the concept of rituals. I do. and those become habitual. So it's easier for me to remember that. And it sounds like the more that you do it, the more that you remember to do it. And like you say, it's a habit. And I love the variety of what you do in terms of your artistry, in terms of reading, in terms of connecting with material that there's kind of a similar philosophy, if you will, of, take care of thyself
Right.
first. However, whatever author, music, song, place in life. And I've also heard a number of people talk about nature. And that's one of my favorites, is just connect with the majesty, the brilliance, the wisdom, the longevity of things in nature, whether it's a local lake or a tree or a rainbow or the sky or just fresh air. I mean, there's so many things that are available to, I think, each of us, regardless of our environment, that we could do that.
True.
Yeah. You talked earlier too, sort of eloquently, about your self-forgiving, yourself, when you get into self-judgment and you're just like, it's like, I remembered, I have a saying, self-flogging is so unattractive.
It is.
So, how do you do that? How do you not do that part of it? How do you give yourself grace rather than judgment?
That's a good question. And I'm still working that out. There's moments in my life where I can give myself a lot more grace. And other times I feel like I forget that piece. And so honestly, I think that I'm working on this book about your body's telling you to love yourself. And there's this self-forgiveness piece. There's all these questions in it. And I've never really done that thorough work around it. And it's amazing how helpful it is. It just makes me feel lighter to realize that there's a reason that I've acted in any way that I have based on fear or my belief system or whatever from way back when, my unconscious, if you will.
Yeah.
So it's like looking at a child and saying, blaming them for something. It's like there's an innocence about that. And I take full responsibility, but at the same time, to understand where I was coming from helps me have self-compassion for whatever it is that I feel I have done that's been erroneous or less than perfect. So that's been really helpful lately to do that. Beautiful. To remember that piece. Yeah.
Yeah. So you bring a couple of major elements into that. One is the old conditioning. And I still have some of that from my, when I was 3 years old that I'm probably unconscious about, but that flares up sometimes in terms of, it's like, stop bugging me, right? Or give me what I want, and then everybody will be happy.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lifelong journey or exploratory process. But the other part of it is, I think the early warning system that the body has is, I'm in pain here. I have an ache here. I have an angst that's inside of me that is not pleasant. It might be an upset stomach. It might be IRB. It might be all kinds of different things that are happening in the body that are the signals of, Peter, pay attention. Peter, you're off course. Peter, you're not aligned, or you're not being yourself here. And the sensitivity to those things, as for me, I'm going to speak about myself and I statements here, isn't like an early warning system. It is, okay, so something's out of kilter and it's not them.
Right.
Even though it is them right now. Okay. So that's never worked, by the way, by blaming somebody. It's just, it just doesn't. It makes me feel better in a moment, but it's a temporary.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, again, it's doing the work, isn't it? It's I have to do the work. I received an early signal. So what is this about? When I say gut wrenching, it actually is gut wrenching. My guts go, ah. So what is my role in this? What do I need to do? What do I need to do to be, I think you use the word compassionate with yourself, or that kind of concept. How do I bring that back in? And then the nice thing about that early warning system from a physical standpoint is that it also is, the relief part is also as immediate for me. That's my experience, is that when I take, okay, so yep, I screwed up. I wish I would have done that differently. There's a return to true self, normal self, not other self, not supposed to self, but the core self that goes, yeah, okay, so now you're back on track. And if it literally feels better in my body. And now, does any of that make sense to you, or how do you interpret that?
I love that. That's absolutely true. There's a lightness that comes in for me, you know, that,
Great word for it.
that it's just and a peace that washes over me. Really, it's like purging almost, like, okay, got that out. And now I'm like back in my body and with compassion, really. And yeah, but yeah, lightness is the physical sensation that I have.
Love that. Love that. So the warning system works both ways. Like, wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
And then when it comes back, it's, ah. So it's the yin and the yang, isn't it? It's like the,
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Definitely.
So let's talk specifically about life purpose. Life purpose is one of those things that people that are going through midlife crisis in particular, or pangs of extension, yeah, that big word.
Yeah. Yes.
So why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? Why did God put me here? If you believe in a God or a creator. Life sucks right now, pretty much across the board. I'm miserable. This is not what I signed up for, but I think probably I did to deal with karma or things from the past, if you believe in that kind of stuff. So life purpose, when you got in touch with that, and I know you did through our coach training program, has that been I'll put it into a non-leading question if I can. How's that worked, or how hasn't that worked for you?
Well, it's interesting because I don't often these days read my life purpose back over, and I've done it at least twice through the process when I've gone back and taken the course again.
Yeah.
And it's always amazing because it is tweaked slightly. Like there's more and there's more. I mean, this is like my core, life purpose, but I think it's expanded the more I open to it. So it's so good to just have this call. It's always great to be with you and to remember that. And I know the part I've added is about creating beauty. And that just keeps coming back to me in my art, my creativity. As much as I like put it off, somebody circles back around and wants something, or some conversation comes back. I'm like, oh yeah, that thing. It's so funny how it's like so easy sometimes to forget it, but the universe keeps bringing it like, no, you are here to still do this. Remember, this is part of I'm like, yeah, that's right. And then I do it and I'm like, of course, hello. Like I feel so much more alive and aligned, and it's like, yes, this is what I'm here to do. But it just morphs, but it's still that core piece. Like it can come in many forms, but it's still creating beauty or reminding others of their, magnificence. And maybe that's what the beauty does for people when they see it. They remember, oh yeah, I have that in me too. Or I don't know. It's fascinating, mysterious, but not really mysterious.
Well, even as you're sharing that, you became more animated.
I did, didn't I?
It's like, woohoo.
It's true.
And it's, and I've heard similar stories from the others, obviously, that it was true then, it's true now, it'll be true in the future. And I get to apply it as a mom, I get to apply it as an artist, I get to apply it as a fellow citizen of the planet, I get to apply it as a where I work. I apply it with my friends, my family, and so on and so forth. It's not limited to just one thing or one age or one stage of life. It's ubiquitous. It's it's kind of like universal enough to apply regardless of the decision in front of you or the direction or the aspiration, or it's like I call it the GPS. It's like my little internal GPS. Okay. And I've shared this a number of times, but I'll share it again today. And that's the sense of when somebody may ask me to get involved with a project, one of the things that I go back to is my life purpose. And the question that I've come to in the last, I don't know, probably 8 or 10 years is this my work to do? Is it worthwhile work to do? Because it almost always is. And there's an incredible need for that work to take place. But is it my work to do? Because if I am working on something that is not within my life purpose, then I am not being a good steward of my life purpose. And so what I'm supposed to be doing isn't getting done, isn't happening, isn't being enlivened, isn't being ignited. And I love even you have to go back and listen to you say what you just said on a recording, right?
Okay.
Because when you started talking about your life purpose, you became, yeah, my art, and then it comes back, and then people do this, and then they that, and it's like, and I feel good about myself, and it's like uplifting, reinforcing. It's all of those things. And so the existentialists, how's that? I got it. The existentialists of our planet have known this for the ages. This is not new information. What is new information is that you can actually articulate it to the point that it can be that beacon. It can be that guiding force. It can be that reminder of, oh, I've gone off to deal with shiny things, or I've been aggravated and I'm been fighting a battle over here that's I'm not even sure how it started. So it's like, come back to that. Am I being true to my core self, my original self? Yeah. And when I am, it's invigorating, it's exhilarating, it's renewal. It's my way of renewing, that vitality, that again, that purpose. I'm being true to my life's purpose.
Yeah. I love that you said, is this my work to do? Such a great question, because I could be doing so much work. It's easy to be busy and to do this stuff, but is it my work to do? I love that question. And the other thing I realized is there are no shortcuts to this. Like, I tried to give myself one lately and it did not go well. Like I thought it's going to be easier to go work for somebody else and they already have it going on and I can be creative there. It didn't work at all. I can't get off the hook that easily. And I tried, and yeah. So I'm back to that, like, oh, I need to be doing this for me, and I want to be doing this for me. So life just keeps giving me these I go asleep on my life purpose a little bit, then I wake back up to it, and yeah, and there really is no other way around it. And it's good that there isn't, but I've really tried to shortcut it and it does not work.
Yeah, I tried to ignore it for 37 years. That definitely didn't work.
It doesn't. No. Yeah.
There's a power in it. There is. It's like a life force in and of itself. And so the life force is always there, always available. The question becomes, do I pay attention to it, like you just said? Do I choose to ignore it overtly? Sorry, I need to earn a living to get my kids through university or to pay for the mortgage or to, and I so get that.
Mhm.
And I honor that, by the way. My clients that say, yeah, okay, so this is the better choice for me to align to, right? In terms of my life purpose, they get it. And I'm going to choose this because it pays twice as much. Okay. So they're doing it with awareness. They're doing it with a clear conscious of, yeah, I know that that is what I'm supposed to be doing relative to my own core self, my own life purpose. But I'm going to sacrifice, and they know they're doing that for the next 3 years because I have an obligation that I want to fulfill for blank. And so, great. Now, in a lot of cases, my experience is that the client comes back in 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, typically not too much longer than that. And they say, this is too painful. And I don't want to be the model of living this way for my kids because they were sacrificing for their kids by choosing that path. And it's not the point for me as a professional coach to say, well, I could have told you that 9 months ago, right?
Yeah.
But I have huge compassion for that because that is a conscious choice that they took because they love their kids so much, or they love their job so much, or they love this opportunity so much, or they whatever. And so allowing that to take place in an organic way for them. And so it's more of a, okay, I hear you. So what's your new choice? What are the options now that you have in front of you? And allow them to make that choice, because it's not my choice to make, or it's not my judgment of
Right.
doesn't belong. And they become happier, and they have miraculously better relationships with everybody around them, you know, when they choose that for themselves. And so there is it's always a choice. It's always a life choice. And I think my God, my creator, gave me a free will to make those choices or not. And there are the compassionate heart within me would love to have relatives, best friends, students not have to go through the angst of being out of alignment. But the other piece that I've observed for myself, and coming from a flaming codependency, I mean, I was world class. I think I won first prize for about 10 years in a row. I saw you on my heels, but I
was gonna say,
no, I beat you out. I did for at least a decade before you even got there.
okay.
And by releasing that, it's brought so much peace to me, so much joy to me. So much so that I know that there are life lessons for me to have learned, and probably still ahead to learn. And so now I give that compassion and grace to my clients or students that also struggling with not living according to their life purpose, even if they have it articulated, because there are other life lessons for them to learn. And so I give them the space, the grace, the compassion, the bandwidth to, okay, so what do you want to do? How do you want to go about this? What is your choice? And allow that to unfold in the universe's manner, not Peter Redding, I'm going to save you from yourself manner. So what if anything, you know, struck a chord there?
Oh my gosh, are you kidding? All of it. It's so timely. I just keep saying that. It's so perfect because especially with children, you know, it's like I want to save them from themselves. And intellectually, I know it's not my job, and it would be way better if they have their own journey, but sometimes the stakes feel so high, it terrifies me.
Yeah.
But when I do my work and I do all the things I mentioned doing and take it back to trusting the universe has a way better plan than I ever could. It's hard to admit that though. Sometimes it's like,
I
yeah,
know.
but
I can't.
no.
I saw your mouth closing up. No, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it.
Right.
It came out.
Oh, it's just so big. So yeah, I could relate to everything you said. It was brilliant. Thank you. It's so good to hear it because of course I'm exactly where I'm meant to be right now on this call, hearing it again on a level that I can take it in even deeper and so yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
And the universe wants to compliment you back of being a great mom, being a great woman, being a great artist, being a great, everything that you do. And having a consciousness and awareness to say, okay, so what's next? Where do what's for me to learn now? And I think that's the incubator of life, isn't it? That's it changes every day. I'll speak in I statements now. It changes every day for me. There's new opportunities. There's new times of struggle. There's times when I get worn out. Like, okay, this is too big. I need to unload this.
Yeah.
I tried that a couple times. That didn't work either, by the way. So anybody that's listening, I share a funny story, and I tickle myself. So I'll share it again here. It goes right along with this. Is that when God gave me this thing and say, okay, so I want you to change the world of education, right, with inspired learning. And so I said, you got to be kidding. So I negotiated with God, and I said, listen, I'm happy to be the courier. I'll be the FedEx guy. I'll deliver this to whoever you want, maybe to somebody that's got a PhD or a doctor's degree in education, or at least a master's degree, because I have neither of those. And so I'll give it to somebody that can actually do something with this mandate, God. And I happened to be at a retreat with a grad, and she kept on saying, no, yeah, but this is your work to do, Peter. Yeah, but I don't want it to be my work. I want to give it away to somebody else that can do this work. And so obviously that didn't work. So yeah, it's accepting myself the way I was created. And there is no ugly part of it. I was going to say the good, the bad, and the ugly, but there is no ugly part of that. It's the good and the better. And like I said, the universe has a much better plan than I could ever come up with.
Yeah.
So it's how do I embrace this? How do I get that? Yeah, this is my work to do. This is the life that I am meant to be living. And you ever look back in life and it kind of all lines up? It's like, oh, that's why that happened. Oh, that's why that happened. That's why I had to go through that breakup. That's how I had to go through that angst. That's how I had to go through that fighting with, not wanting to accept this, that, or the other, and all the different, parts of life, the journey. And I look back and it's like, wow, that was preparing me to do my work. That was preparing me to be where I'm at. That was preparing me to learn. And if nothing else, have the compassion for what others are going through, because you know what? I experienced that raw, painful, angst, anger, upset, all the, the whole range of emotions. And so I can hold a much bigger, more compassionate place for those that are still going through that, with a sense that I could not have if I hadn't experienced it. Yeah.
Absolutely true. Yeah. Yes.
So I see Kay has joined us. Kay, do you want to join in with a question? Say hi to Jody. Jody, say hi to Kay.
Hi, Jody.
Hi, Kay.
It's so good to see you again.
You too. Wonderful.
We were in training together, and
oh my gosh, Kay, Richard, yes, hi. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. Wow. Oh
Yes.
my gosh, that's
Yes.
amazing. Yeah.
You recognize me.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wonderful.
Welcome to the reunion channel. That's what
I
we're really here
know.
for. I didn't even remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. Jody was one of my favorite people in training. So it's wonderful to see you again.
Oh, thank you. You were one of the angels. I remember.
Okay. Okay.
And you still are. Mhm.
That was shortly after I finished my training. So I was thinking we were actually in the same group. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Well, I just jumped in a little bit late. My Zoom link wasn't working, so I didn't catch your whole discussion, but I'm just excited to see you. And the whole theme of really celebrating our living in alignment with our innate life purpose has really been on my mind all week. After our discussion last week, I was on with Peter last week on the topic. And so I've just been resonating with your words, Peter, about how important it is to celebrate and acknowledge living in alignment with our purpose, because that's the way to create the new focus, so that when the old messages of I should be doing more, never enough, those kind of messages come in, the meat of celebrating and noticing and acknowledging and realizing I'm living in alignment with my purpose is the answer to those voices. And I've really been feeling that this week. And so this is very timely for me too. So
Fabulous. Yeah, fabulous. The whole concept of, life goes on with or without me living in alignment with my core self. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
yes.
And it's just, it's like, the metaphor that comes up is like I'm in the rapids, like level 4 rapids, like, there's so much turmoil happening, but if I'm not in my course, then it's going to push me over. It's going to tumble me around in the fray of life that is surrounding me. But when I'm on course with my life purpose and I have that resolutely, then my boat is steered so that it can flow with the turbulence. It can flow with the things that are going on around me, the events, the people, the angst, the wars, the arguments, the politics, the whatever's going on, and allow that to happen, not to be in ignorance of any of that, but to be in a flow of what's my part to play here? Is it to join that fray of blame game? Or is it to be a model of peace, model of compassion, model of understanding, model of, there are more important things in the world. Most of the world, 98%, I believe, is still right.
Mm-hmm.
It's flowing. Trees behind Kay are growing beautifully. Thank you very much. Chlorophyll is working in the leaves. The roots are sucking up the hydration. It's doing its thing back there. Happy as a clam, and bringing peace and harmony into that part of the world. And the rest of the world that is out of kilter will come back into kilter when it exhausts itself. Mm. Peter Redding philosophy. You don't have to believe in any part of that. But the guiding force in all of this is my life purpose. I am the exquisite and playful orchestration of my unique humanness that connects with my oneness with spirit to create a bodacious flourishing of life. That has been true for me for the last 26 years. And when I'm true to that, life is really, really sweet for me. Yeah. So we're going to wrap this up in another minute or so. Jody, I'm going to give you the last word. What comes out of this for you today?
Oh gosh, just joy being on the call with you and now Kay, which is so cool. Just remembering the love that is always present in any moment, really, and starting with the love for myself, going back to that, that piece. And where I put my focus on, it's just remembering all these, my life purpose. And it's like you said, it's so easy to get off on the turbulence and all the stuff swirling around me instead of staying on my path, because it does, like you said, enhance relationships. Everything in my life gets better if I stay aligned with what I'm here to do.
Wow.
It's just that simple. It's
Wow.
so simple, but yet, why? But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But yes, when I remember, so I'm choosing to remember and stay awake to my life purpose. So thank you for the beautiful reminder.
I love that. Yeah. Remember and stay awake to it. And yeah, and to trust it.
Yeah.
Jody, you are such an awesome human being. I'm reminded again today of just how awesome you are and what a brilliant human being, woman, American, artist, all the other things that you are, mom.
Thank you.
So thank you for gracing us again, and me specifically. Kay, I love you. Thanks for stopping by. Saras, I didn't get a chance to talk to you today or have you contribute, but please come back. We'll be doing this again next week, and we'll be talking about the next principle, the last 4 principles of the Positively Brilliant Self-Mastery. So with that, goodbye, good night, be safe, God bless, namaste.
Thank
you, Peter.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Just couldn't calculate the EST time with India time correctly, Peter.
That's perfectly okay. Perfectly okay. See you next week.
I will. Thank you. Thank you for this, Peter.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.